Hey folks, welcome back to Law Creations. I just wanted to share with you guys or whoever is running across this video a certain book I picked up on eBay. It's called Extreme Real Buildings. It's by Vallejo, and it actually portrays an artist, Emmanuel. I don't know how to pronounce his Latin. Nouaillier. It's about painting and weathering techniques. It's a master class in scenic atmosphere, and that's right up my alley. And I love things like that. And just going through this book, I think it was $70 on eBay. I picked it up for a little pricey, but it's very informative and it's good quality. A lot of nice pictures and explanations. So I just wanted to flip through it a little bit and give you guys an idea of what you can expect if you pick this book up. It's just pretty much taking reference of old, weathered, abandoned, or buildings, just weathered and, you know, old buildings, and just making them come to life in a diorama using different materials and foam. And I through looking through this book, I think it really explains a lot of things. But I think obviously there's a lot of talent, but if you can learn certain techniques and understand how certain materials react with certain techniques, I think you can somewhat capture some of the realism. But definitely, it will definitely take some time to obviously achieve it on this kind of a level. You definitely need to practice and practice and practice, and it would take years and years. But I think starting out, you could get something you're happy with. And yeah, I just wanted to share this book. Enough of babbling, but it just talks about the state of decay and its portrayal in dioramas, or more or less like a lot of picture frame. He just pretty much does the facade, and he does it very realistically. If you folks watch Night Shift, his YouTube channel, you will find that he does a lot of work similar to this, and he is actually the one that inspired me to purchase this book and give this particular realism a shot. And I do capture some realism in my dioramas, but nothing to this extent. This is pretty phenomenal. And it just gives you a whole bunch of like references that he uses to that he comes up with for his dioramas. Here he is, I'm assuming, just sitting there, a weathered old building, and so on and so forth. And it just goes on, and it just talks about the state of decay. I imagine most in every building, old, have a certain state of decay that you can capture in realism. So these pictures here are actually miniature pictures that he accomplished, because you can see his finger here, and just the woodwork and the color tones and the weathering. It's pretty amazing and inspiring if you're after this kind of creativity. And over here as well, hopefully the glare's not too much on this particular book. I have a lot of lights on. If you hear my fan running and my printer, I apologize. So it just, obviously he uses, because it's a Vallejo book, all Vallejo materials, and which is expected, but you can pretty much use the materials you have on hand and give it a shot. And I think he sketches everything out, and he puts everything on a piece of paper. And I know Night Shift does that as well. If you've watched any of his videos, it just allows for measurements, and so everything's in scale and everything fits. So this is, I mean, look at that concrete work. That concrete work is pretty amazing. And the weathered doors, and just how it all comes together. It definitely takes a lot of practice and skill, but with the right patience and materials and understanding, you can probably achieve something similar. but not right away. But yeah, this is just a whole bunch of him weathering, and I'm just going to run through it, the pictures, and just going to shut up for a little bit and let you guys just take a look at the different facades that he creates. That's really cool, the signage, and yeah, just see his finger with a paintbrush here, same here, pretty amazing. I mean, that's awesome. To me, that's like really inspiring to capture that type of detail and that type of realistic look. And it just goes on, and here you can see the things he does and the picture frames that he puts his pieces in, which is really beautiful. Look display really nice on a nice wall, and yeah. So this he covers painted wood. So obviously this pretty much is all wood, and you can see how it's weathered and painted. And to think that this is probably pretty much done with acrylic paint and like I say, different techniques. I think the name of the game is understanding and learning techniques. Techniques with wood, techniques with concrete, what materials to use when, and what gives you the desired look you're going for. So yeah, and then just sitting down and doing the work and enjoying it. And this is awesome. He shows you how he scribes everything out and the tools he uses. Really good explanation of everything. And I'm not sure if the foam board that he uses is different than what we use here in the States. I don't even know where he's located. He could be right here in the States, but it's really awesome work. How he wire brush for the foam board. Looks like he does a little sanding. This particular type of paintbrush. See, this is everything before it's even attempted to start any weathering. You can see how things are drawn out, and just looks really nice. And then he shows you some processes of how he achieves the different looks, the different textures of the wood. Looks like he uses a wash, some model wash black, I'm assuming by Vallejo. And yeah, you got to kind of know how much to add and where to add it and when to wipe off. And he's wiping some off here. I guess this is all the colors he used up top here, the materials and the tools. Well, covers a lot. Finished product. It's really cool. To think that's a miniature, it's amazing. Painted wood. Next chapter is weathered concrete. And wow, that is weathered. That looks pretty amazing. Just everything, from the paint to the shadows and the realism. Shows him cutting everything out. I haven't seen foam board quite like that. I doubt it's just Dollar Tree foam board. I don't think so. I'll have to read and see exactly what he uses. He shows you how he uses the wire brush, makes cracks, he draws out the cracks. That's really cool. You guys can see that there. The weathering and the mold and the moss and plants, everything. So he uses a lot of times to replicate this effect as accurately as possible in miniature. I use the splatter technique. So once again, it's a technique that he's learned and that he knows when to use. And you'll see when you're going to read this, you'll see the word technique mentioned quite a bit. It's just becoming a master at those particular techniques. That takes years and years to learn. But yeah, I would love to really try to make one of these with a nice picture frame. I just might do that. Just find a good picture to do. But yeah, I mean, it's a good book too, so you guys can see the different, the variety of supplies that Vallejo has in different, to achieve different looks and everything. This is all like environmental. It's all acrylic. I'm sure he uses enamel as well. More weathered concrete. You can tell that's a miniature. You see his hand, and that looks stunning. The book was pricey, but I was really interested in seeing, just checking it out and having it in my, library. Weathered bricks. So you see tutorial after tutorials about bricks and how to weather them and how to get the mortar in there and just how to paint them, and there's just so many ways to go about it. But this is his particular way to capture this particular realism, which is pretty cool. He says, brick is undoubtedly one of the most imitated building materials in scale modeling. So, but in reality, we can find differences in their appearance from one country to another, and sometimes even from one region to another. So he gives a lot of explanation. I mean, that brickwork is amazing. That looks like a real building though, so I don't really even know if it is or not. So this might be what he's drawing here. But yeah, he goes through the whole process of creating the brickwork. The tools he uses even the wire brush to give it a little texture. Probably just pushes it in rather than scrape it. Makes sense to me. Different washes, when to wipe it, how long he lets things dry for, getting that mortar work. Yeah, it just looks so realistic. Let's continue with weathered bricks. See if I get this down a little bit. This will be an hour video by the time I shut up and get through it. Some more stuff about weathered bricks. We've got a sheet metal plate that he's replicating. I really love the signage. That's a technique and an art within itself, just capturing printing and then weathering it to look, to fit in place with this particular style. So that was weathered bricks. This is old stucco. And he explains it to recreate stucco in scale. And then he tells you exactly how he achieves it, and then he goes into it step by step. So if you're really, really interested in this kind of display making, this is a decent book to pick up. Maybe it's cheaper now. Maybe you can find it cheaper, which would be even better. And just add it to your library. How he makes a ladder. Here's the signage. It's a really great book. I have a bunch of Vallejo how-to books, and I got the weathering pencil one. I have another real kind of building one. But I just was inspired to maybe share this one with you guys. I'm just going to zip through this. This is hollow bricks and palimpsest. Forgive my ignorance, but I don't know what palimpsest is, so I have no idea. Maybe it's just style of stonework. That's what it looks like. I'm guessing. I could be way off. More brickwork. More tools. His colors, tools, paintbrushes. Looks like he does a lot of like dabbing. So yeah, I mean, he gives a good explanation. He also shows you exactly what he uses to achieve. It's one thing to look and say, "Oh wow, that looks pretty easy," but when you go to sit and do it, it looks like a big puddle of mud. You got to really learn and sit and do the work. That's what I always say. You can watch so much stuff, but until you sit down and really just do the work for yourself and create for yourself, there's no way of really learning. And then when you're creating and you run into a problem, you can throw on a YouTube video and maybe see how to solve that problem or get inspiration. But at the end of the day, the best teacher is actually sitting down and doing creating for yourself. And that's the key, is creating for yourself, not creating for others, and creating what you love and what you enjoy. And obviously his passion and his really shows in his work what his passion is. So he's creating, what he loves to create. And be true to yourself. I always say, don't create for likes, don't create for, for people to say, ooh, wow, because at the end of the day, it's what you think. So it's just more signage showing how he captures all that. It's like he paints it. Doesn't even look like that's wild. It's like he did a stencil. And this is just a chapter on ghosts from the past. So it shows the door. Here's a door he's created before any weathering. He uses a lot of styrene to replicate wood. I guess it's I've never used styrene to try to replicate wood. Looks pretty like it comes out very, very nice. I mean, that just looks so realistic. You have to have a real good eye for detail as well. And something I love applying to my dioramas is rust. So he gives you a whole rundown of what he uses for rust and how he does it. There's a facade he's created. Starting to rust it up a little bit. Looks like he uses some pigments. Rust is pretty versatile to create with. You can pretty much use anything. You can use watercolors, oils, pigments, just regular old acrylic paint. Jason Jensen trains. He does some pretty amazing rust just with a sponge and cheap acrylic craft paint. It looks so realistic, and like I say, it's a technique that he learned and he knows. That's what I love, that nice heavy duty weathering. Give you an idea here. So it's an extensive book. It's got quite a bit in it. This is abandoned and patched up, this particular section. Just goes over a whole bunch of facades that he creates, how he does it. So he uses polyurethane foam sheets. If you guys know what that is, I'll have to Google and see exactly. Not that you have to, use the same materials, but I'm not really sure. Polyurethane foam. But I know this is a long-winded video, but I just wanted to show you guys, you folks, this particular book and what can be accomplished when you have a passion and you have the time and the patience to learn new techniques and try them out. Just sit and create. I think that's what I'm going to do next, is always look for inspiration for different things to create and try my hand at. And I go into it not expecting, I'm okay with failure. I'm okay with not liking, I'm okay. As long as I learn something in the process and I can add it to my experience. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to start over. Because when you're afraid, it'll keep you from even just picking anything up and doing it. Don't be afraid if you feel like you don't have talent or anything like that, because if you just sit down and create, you'll be surprised what you can come up with, that you can be proud of and display your figures in or display on a wall. But you won't know until you do it. And it's a wonderful hobby. Fantastic. I always say it's my therapy. I get more out of my creativity than I ever do with my counseling sessions with my therapists or psychiatrists or whoever I rely on for my mental health. My hobby and my creativity is what centers me, and it allows, the mind to slow down. It allows the mind to quiet down a little bit for a little bit of time. So that's why I do what I do. I say that all the time. Coming towards the end, there's more signage and goes over the whole way, old advertising plaques. So I didn't even see this chapter, to be honest with you. I haven't gotten that far. That's a really good chapter to learn and practice and try different things. That's really cool. Shows you how he weathers it. So yeah, if you made it this far, you're doing okay. I appreciate it. And forgive me if I'm long-winded, but I can't just do a video and just have silence. If you don't want to listen to me, you can just mute it and watch it, I guess. That would be a great way to do that. And I'm not going to put any annoying music to my video, because you'll end up muting it anyway. But yeah, it's really awesome. The details within the details. So true. Don't they say that the devil is in the details? Like I say, just wanted to give you guys some inspiration, to let you see what can be achieved with some time and some effort and a passion. If you don't have a passion for stuff like this, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to see it through and learn the technique. You're going to get frustrated. You got to be pretty much passionate about wanting to recreate what is in front of you, in your mind, anything like that. All right, guys, coming to the end. I appreciate you watching. I hope checking this video out was helpful to you. If you picked a book up, I hope it's helpful. This is just a gallery of things he's created, and I'm sure the pictures don't do it justice. To see in real life would be, if you want to see this kind of work in process, go over to Night Shift channel and check it out. He does amazing realistic pieces like this. And that's the end of the book. You guys take care and enjoy. Thank you.